Never thought.
You have the same habit as I do hand. There's a nice bike. You have to stroke it.
Comfortable, yes.
When people watch these seminars on YouTube, when they see when Andrej strokes a motorcycle, it means it's a good one.
Yes, yes. Because it's a bit like with a horse, you have to pamper it a little.
Hi, it's me, Andrej, and something is sticking out of my top case. I wonder what it is. It's the Yamaha Tracer 900 GT. One of Yamaha's best sellers. That's the thing about Yamaha when they make a motorcycle. It quickly becomes a bestseller. Why is that? And here are some other things as well. Why does this happen? Because they make good motorcycles, not cheap, but also not expensive. Those rascals really know how to balance it well. And this Tracer, we've known the Tracer for several years now. We know that it's really based on the MT-09. It has that 3-cylinder engine. Many things are similar, but the details make the difference. As soon as the Tracer appeared, it turned out that all the touring riders were like, hey, this is exactly the kind of machine we needed, because not everyone wants an adventure bike that immediately comes with big wheels. And because of those wheels, it turns a bit worse. Might have a bit less grip, but most people want a comfortable, tall motorcycle with the right wheel. The suspension travel isn't that big, but the suspension itself is soft and pleasant. We'll get to that in a moment, but there's a windscreen. Everything is comfortable. Above all, it's just comfortable and fast enough. And when you think about it, there really aren't that many highly competitive motorcycles, especially at this price point, because this bike costs so. I just hit the top case. Sorry, top case. No worries. Especially at this price, because it exceeds 50,000 zlotys, but it also doesn't go over 60,000 zlotys. I think it's 55, if I remember correctly, in this GT version, which is really, really, really loaded because it has gauges. Oh wow, I would love to slip in. It has a gauge, just like in the R1. As you can see, it says CCS1. It says mode standard, which means it has variable ignition map modes, adjustable traction control. I'll talk about the traction control in a moment. Heated grips and similar features. It even has a little menu knob here, which doesn't actually do that much, but you can still play around with it. You can see it's up to 130 degrees, and the fuel consumption is 5.8. Exactly, the fuel consumption is low because I've actually been riding this motorcycle only in the city, since it's too hot and the weather is too unpredictable for me to want to go anywhere far. But this video is about presenting you with different opinions about the Tracer. I don't have to take it on a trip because I know that for my expectations it would definitely be more than enough. I have absolutely no idea where I am or how I'm supposed to ride through these little streets. I know that it would be completely sufficient, so I'm going to visit someone who has ridden many more kilometers on a motorcycle than I have. Especially for touring, maybe I should go this way. And I'll also record what Tobias told me and refer to what I know myself. What I know is that, in my opinion, this motorcycle is better than the MT-09. I like the MT-09 because it's a bit of a rascal. Sometimes I'm in the mood to be a rascal, but less and less these days. Because the more I ride on the racetrack, the less I feel like messing around. And as it turns out, the MT-09 is always encouraging you to do just that. That engine is very aggressive, the motorcycle has sharp geometry and so on and so on. But here, everything is smoothed out, it's refined, so you feel like it was meant to be this way from the start. This motorcycle isn't here to scare us. It's supposed to be our friend and simply adapt to the way we want to ride. What's cool is that, I don't know if on the MT-09, maybe only on the SP version, you can install it well. You can probably add accessories to any version. But on the SP, a quick shift is available, whereas here, it's standard. I'll say right away, it's a pity there's no downshifter, meaning we can't downshift without the clutch, but let's see if it's possible to shift down without the clutch and with a little rev matching. Oh, it works. If you know how, maybe you just need to give the throttle a little blip, but you do need to get the hang of it. Where should I go? I'll go over there, because I need to get to my little guy. So the motorcycle is super enjoyable when it comes to its performance. Well, I've traveled many times on the road at speeds over 200 kilometers per hour. And anyone who has ever ridden like that knows it's completely pointless, because you just burn more fuel, have to stop at gas stations more often, and you end up collecting just as many bugs only. The beetles are flying even faster around your head. So in touring, the most important speed range is between 150 and 160 kilometers per hour, and for this motorcycle that's absolutely no effort at all. It just cruises along, we have cruise control, we turn it on, and we can just rack up the kilometers, kilometer after kilometer. And in touring motorcycles, it's important that they strike a good balance between the ability to handle corners, throttle response, and dynamic performance, while also being capable of comfortable highway riding. Because if, for example, we live in Warsaw, not in the Tri-City, since they have a few curves there, but in many cities, both in Poland and around the world, sometimes to get to the curves, to the cool spots, you simply have to travel there. And to get there as quickly as possible, you take the highways. There are motorcycles that perform great on curves, but they struggle a bit on highways, especially those with smaller engines. Or, for example, large engine capacities, but with many cylinders. For instance, a 4-cylinder. And when you ride fast, they really howl. That was the case with the previous S1000 XR. I don't know about the new one, because I haven't ridden it yet. Maybe it's a bit better there. So this motorcycle strikes a nice balance because, you know, you're riding along this route, and the windscreen, well, it's nothing special. Look, this is how the adjustment works. The stock windscreen isn't anything to write home about, but it does offer some protection. The adjustment is also like that. Oh, I managed to do it. It's nothing special, but it does offer some protection, and it works best at what you might call moderate speeds. What I like is that you can really feel this motorcycle. See, it's really soft. It has adjustment. You can stiffen it up a bit, slow down the suspension's rebound so it bounces back more slowly. But I actually like it this way. And honestly, I don't like it when I have a touring motorcycle nowadays. A lot of these touring bikes have to be a bit sporty at the same time. And because of that, the suspension is relatively stiff. So where's the comfort in that when everything else is great, comfortable, soft seat, all nice and cozy, but the suspension itself isn't soft, pleasant, or comfortable at all. But here, it's so nice and soft, and for it to actually become a problem, you'd really have to start riding in a very reckless way, taking corners at high speed. What's more, this Yamaha, specifically the Tracer 900, has often appeared at our time attack events on the track because people and Yamaha themselves promoted it a bit. So Yamaha owners would often come and dealers would frequently invite them to these track days. And suddenly, it turned out that these Tracer 900S performed incredibly well on the track. Do you know why? Because in my opinion, this motorcycle is better balanced than the MT-09. How is that possible? Well, it's because it's heavier and some of that weight is up here a bit higher, since the MT-09 is designed in such a way that it changes direction very easily. This motorcycle also, zip zip zip, is very eager to do that, but for a motorcycle to change direction very willingly and easily and to respond eagerly to commands, it's better if its center of gravity is low. Unfortunately, there are consequences to that. The consequence is that when you're riding very fast or on a track and you lean the motorcycle hard into a turn, it quickly reaches its own limit. After that, it's difficult to lean it further into the corner. It gives us a bit of resistance there because it tends to act like a roly-poly toy, always wanting to stand upright. And here, because the center of gravity is a bit higher, this motorcycle is more willing to lean into those really deep corners than the MT-09 itself. Of course, these are, you know, little nuances, tiny details. Hardly anyone will actually notice it, but even if you don't feel it, somehow riding through corners or for some wonderful reason you can't quite put your finger on, it turns out to be more enjoyable and easier. And you could really see this with the Tracer 900S that were ridden on our track, honestly. Everyone who took a lap on the Tracer, we were often shocked at the lap times those bikes were putting down and how people, you know, just weren't struggling at all. It's not like they were dragging a knee or anything. They just sat comfortably in the middle and zip, 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 zip. Really, really cool thing. Both the brakes and the suspension are nice and soft, really easy to modulate. This motorcycle is just so easy to ride and to handle. It's not like when you squeeze the brakes, you're showing off your strength or anything. No, at first it's gentle. And if you want to brake harder, you just squeeze the lever a bit more and that's more than enough. When it comes to showing off on the road, honestly, I don't feel like riding around looking for a spot, because unfortunately I've lost my usual place for stunts. A safe, closed off spot, there's some construction going on there now, and I just don't feel like searching for another one. Trust me, this motorcycle can do wheelies. It does wheelies almost as well as the MT-09, but the problem is that it's a bit harder to do them while sitting down. When you ride, you end up looking to the sides, because as you go, you start seeing the Tracer here instead of where you're actually headed. Well, this motorcycle just isn't made for that. It can do it if someone feels like it from time to time, because they know how they've learned on something else, and later they'll have the Tracer for touring, then they can pop a wheelie now, and then just to show off. But why do that? I really don't know. It has traction control, but the traction control is what shows that this motorcycle is a bit on the inexpensive side. You know, expensive touring motorcycles nowadays cost 80,000-90,000 zlotys. For me, 50-something thousand zlotys is still a lot of money. But the point is to show you this difference. The traction control is not very sophisticated. I think I've already lost track, but it doesn't matter. Oh, it's not very sophisticated. Because when you lose traction, the system doesn't just blink and you feel the bike gently correcting itself. Instead, you hear this rather distinct and repetitive whoop, 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 whoop sound, which can be quite noticeable and perhaps a little jarring to the rider. And that's how the ignition gets cut. Again, this isn't a sport bike, so they had to cut some costs somewhere. Although, honestly, I don't really know how you save money on this. Actually, I think I do. Maybe it's about additional throttle bodies or something like that. These electronic systems aren't all that simple after all. As for Tobias's opinion, I really like it because it was forged in the heat of battle. Once Tobias took part in the rally North-South or something like that. These are rallies that are also supported by Yamaha. He was invited there, but there wasn't any adventure class motorcycle available, so the only option was a Tracer, not the 900 GT, just the regular Tracer 900. And Tobias didn't hesitate for long. He went with that Tracer to make a report for us. Oh, I think that's where I come in. You were supposed to make a report there and ride, you know, on side roads, on asphalt to complete those special stages. And it ended up that he was riding the Tracer himself on those special stages, on tires well, on the same kind of tires, or just as road oriented. And it turned out that the Tracer handled those gravel roads pretty well thanks to traction control and ABS. It was relatively safe, and the soft suspension made it possible to ride. So that was Tobias's opinion. If you want to, you can take anything off-road. And that's true. Actually, that's the absolute truth. All right, I'm gonna call my guest. We'll have a chat and get a third opinion, because mine is a bit more sporty. Tobias's is a bit more off-road. And now we'll hear from someone who's already ridden quite a few kilometers on motorcycles in their life. Hi.
Hi, I'm here. He caught me.
Yes, I caught you. Those who don't recognize, this is Odetta Moro. You've seen her on a motorcycle with a helmet.
Yes, that's when you can tell it's me. That's right, they still make helmets like that and probably will for a long time to come.
Hey, listen, maybe we should get an airbrush and have our faces painted on the helmet instead, so it looks like we have a giant head.
But you know, at least then people would be able to see us. Yeah, that's cool, that's cool. Yeah, I agree.
All right, but with your hair, you'll have a bigger problem.
Listen, I just cut it. Before, you could tell it was a girl riding. Now, unfortunately, that's not the case.
Good or not, we noticed in our motorcycle magazine that when it comes to travelers, there's no difference whether it's a woman or a man.
Oh, but there is a big difference.
There is.
There is. You guys don't know how to travel at all.
Really? Why is that?
You just go vroom vroom and straight to your destination, but we don't. We savor the journey. We meet people, sightsee, stop, smell, and taste the places we visit. But you just get up early, ride, then have a beer and go to sleep. That's not how it is with us.
Actually, that's true. When I traveled with my wife, my trip looked completely different. She was riding in the back at the time since she didn't have a driver's license. She would sit there, flipping through where we should stop, what to see. And honestly, I really like that because, you know...
She told you where you needed to stop. That's exactly what I'm talking about. That's what I mean. I remember a few years ago in the Himalayas when we were an all-female group, we accidentally ended up meeting a similar group, but it was all men. That was the main difference. And it went like this. We got up in the morning, had a nice breakfast, visited some Buddhist temples, went to see the nuns, cooked soup with them, using those weeds that grew in their garden. And then we drove way up high because everything was above 3,000 meters at that time. And we arrived at a camp around 2 or 3 in the afternoon where we were supposed to spend the night. And there was just a little bit of water in a bucket to wash ourselves. But it was wonderful, charming, and just wild. You know, there was nothing on the horizon, just nature. And when we got there, a group of men was just leaving, and of course that group clearly hungover quickly jumped on their motorcycles, And they just rushed off, running just to get somewhere, with no plans to sightsee at all, just focused on the route itself. And that's the difference.
All right, but...
We sightseeing along the way while you focus on the route.
Not only that, we have different priorities. Don't stereotype, man. Everyone has their own.
All right.
Would you ride the Tracer 900? Because you had the chance to ride that bike too. Come stand by me. I don't feel like holding this helmet. Come on. Here, because we'll be visible here. Did you have a chance to ride it, that bike?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I rode exactly this one. I'll tell you, I would ride it. It's a really nice motorcycle. It handles really well. I mean, did you lower something here?
No, that's how it stands. You know, because we both.
Yeah. Oh, it's so warm.
That's really nice.
Yeah, no, it's not worth sitting like this any longer. No, but it's really nice, very sleek, very comfortable. I rode it around Warsaw to the countryside and so on, so I didn't take it for a week-long trip around Poland because I didn't have that much time. But this is the kind of machine you get on and you feel that it's well tailored, like a comfortable pair of pants.
Exactly. It's so easy and pleasant to handle.
Yes, and overall, it has a certain ease. It's very light. It has a really nice fuel tank in the sense that you don't have to constantly look for gas stations because there are some motorcycles where you fill up more often than you need to go to the bathroom. So I think those are its advantages. You know what? I actually did South America recently on Yamahas, though they were Tracers.
3 and 4, is that right?
No, there it's what were they called again? They're really tiny. We don't have them here at all. They don't make them for Europe.
Those bikes in South America are really cool. I like them a lot.
Yeah. And honestly, when I sat down and saw all those shapes, I immediately felt like I was back somewhere in Bolivia.
Because that's the main trend from the manufacturer, but I know that around the world these motorcycles look different. Well, I don't know what your opinion is, but it seems to me that it's probably the same, that this is more of a motorcycle for trips around Europe and on paved roads rather than for the Himalayas. I don't know if I would want...
No, definitely not. That's true. If you're going to the Himalayas, you have to go on Enfields and only Enfields because they're, a screwdriver, a hammer, and no electronics will surprise you. So that's for sure. But if we wanted to go somewhere around here, maybe to the Alps or maybe to our Polish Bieszczady, because this year is a bit more limited in terms of travel, I think this is a very comfortable option, a very convenient piece of equipment, super spacious, so you can take everything with you. There's nothing missing here, really. It's truly comfortable. Let me put it this way. I have a big garage, but I still have a house with a garage, not a garage with a house, so it's hard to have everything. If I had 5 motorcycles, this would definitely be one of the 5.
Yes, for serious expeditions. So what did I think about this motorcycle? That it's great for getting somewhere where you can ride, because it's not afraid of highways.
No, not helicopters.
Yes.
Helicopters, listen, it also has cruise control and quite a story for the brave who want to try it for the first time.
Did you know there will be active cruise controls in motorcycles?
Really?
Yes, next year there will already be motorcycles with active cruise control, so you don't touch anything at all and it brakes by itself.
But I don't know if I want that.
I want it in a car, but on a motorcycle I'm not sure yet if I want it.
Exactly, that's why I say it's all for the brave, because for example, I don't like all these new gadgets. In that case, I don't know if at some point I just want to stop and not follow technology, but just stay where I am. Because I like things that depend a little on me.
This one isn't too bad yet, in terms of how complicated it is. That's what I think.
But you know what? But also, like I mentioned about the Himalayas or Bolivia or, I don't know, Argentina, Chile, South America, we traveled everywhere there at high altitudes, right? When we were riding at 4,000 meters, we were basically always at 4,000, 4,200, 43, 46, 48, up to 5,300. There's no oxygen there. We can't even walk, and the motorcycle can't run. So with that kind of electronics, you won't get anywhere. There, it just clogs up, gets blocked, and that's it. It loses power. If it has 900, then at that altitude, at 5,200, it would probably have, maybe 200. I think a good scooter would pull faster, and even that probably wouldn't make it.
I feel like such an amateur. Someday I'll go to the Himalayas too, yeah.
Go there with your wife.
Yeah, definitely.
It's really great there, and I'll tell you, that's a trip I'd like to do again, for sure. Even though it always seems like you should travel to new places, that's a place I'd go back to. I don't feel that way about South America. It was nice, but it's like eating hard-boiled eggs all the time. Thank you.
Okay. All right, thanks a lot. I hope we'll see each other on motorcycles someday.
I hope so. If you give it back, if it's looking for a home, I'll take it.
All right, there's always this craze at the start of the season, everyone tests them, and then those motorcycles end up just sitting around, abandoned. So remember about them.
Yeah, I'll definitely be thinking about it, and I was even considering it for next year. You have the same habit as I do, Hen. There's a nice bike, you just have to stroke it. Comfortable, yeah.
Well, when people watch these seminars on YouTube, I see them say, if Andres is stroking the motorcycle, that means it's a good one.
Yeah, because it's kind of like with a horse, you have to spoil it a little. When it's spoiled, my son sat on it. I can also tell you that as a not yet 2-year-old motorcyclist, he also approves of this power.
All right, thanks a lot.
Thanks.
See you.
Yeah, it's really nice. Nice motorcycle.